I really am filming a tutorial about mending holes in clothes while wearing a shirt which has a hole in it. Ironic. We all have that garment, and for me, it's this white punny cactus t-shirt. And unfortunately, it has a hole in the sleeve. But no more, because today we're gonna patch it up with our sweet embroidery skills. So here's what you'll need to get started. The lucky garment of the day. What? What's this? 2 holes? But Toni, you'll be asking me, I thought there was only 1 hole in your shirt. See? 1 hole, 2 holes. 1 hole, 2 holes. 1 hole. Okay, let me just stop myself there. I think you guys get the picture. Let's just dive straight into the unnecessary but rather entertaining backstory. I was trying to film a dramatic reenactment of how I got the initial hole when I did actually get caught on the door handle again. So now I have 2 holes. So embarrassing. Who gets stuck on a door handle twice? Clearly I'm the only weirdo. Why don't you comment down below all of the weird ways that you've managed to snag your clothing? That could be quite an interesting topic to get into. Anyway, let's continue on with the tutorial that you came here to watch. You'll need your holy garment, an embroidery hoop. I made one for myself out of an old tube container by cutting off the lip and then taking the lid and cutting a hole in that too. Ta-da! Looks just like an embroidery hoop. You'll also need scissors, which I stupidly didn't place in this shot. Embroidery thread. I've got this lovely green in mind for my design, and I also grabbed this black, but as you'll see later, I actually don't end up using it. You'll also need a sewing needle, which I'm digging around in this box like an absolute lunatic for, when there are just a couple over there. I finally spotted the needles, and with these in my hand, that's it. We've got everything we need to get started. By the way, don't let this fancy box fool you. I'm no professional, as you can see from Exhibit A, me fighting with this piece of plastic. Facepalm. Let's just get started, shall we? I'm going to grab my fabric and sandwich it in between the 2 parts of the embroidery hoop, making sure that the fabric is stretched tautly as I secure the hoop. Go ahead and pull that fabric as tight as you can to secure it. This ensures that the finished product doesn't come out puckered, bumpy, lumpy. We don't need any of that in our lives. Next, I'm going to sketch out my design. I'm going to be drawing a cactus to match up with the front of my t-shirt. So using a pencil, I'm just going to lightly sketch out the basic outline, making sure that my design encloses the holes that I intend to cover up, so that when I start embroidering, the thread will be drawn over the holes to patch them up. I mean, obviously, right? Otherwise, what would the point of this entire tutorial be? Also, can we please take a moment to just acknowledge this strand of hair that absolutely refuses to miss its 2 seconds of fame? Just round of applause. Please don't judge my drawing skills, and for other people who are even less confident in their drawing, I have a quick tip for you. Print out your design and then scribble some graphite on the back of the paper, so that when you put the paper graphite side down on the fabric and you trace over the outline of your design, you'll get a nice impression that transfers onto the fabric. So now that we have our design all set up, it's time to start embroidering. I went ahead and threaded my needle with 3 strands of the embroidery thread, tying a knot at the end so that the thread doesn't slip off of the needle. Then I'm going to start filling my cactus up with the satin stitch. To do this stitch, you're going to bring up your needle from the back of the piece, and then take the needle back down directly across from where it came and pull it all the way through so that you get a nice long straight stitch. Let me just show you that again. So you're going to bring your thread up through the back on the one side of the marking that you've made, and then you're going to take the needle and thread back down on the other side to create a long straight stitch. Following the outline that I sketched out, slowly the cactus starts to take shape. When the thread runs out, simply tie it off at the back. Thread the needle again and continue right where you left off. after a few seconds for you through the power of movie editing, but a whole lot of minutes for me. Everything is covered up, and just like that, the cactus is filled. Now I'm going to outline the shape of the cactus with a backstitch. There are actually two ways of doing a backstitch, and I'll show you both. They both start the same way, and this is by bringing the needle up through the back. Then, for the first method, you're going to scoop up a little bit of the fabric, about a stitch length away, and pull the needle all the way through. Then you're going to go back to where the previous stitch ended and scoop up some more fabric, making sure to come up another stitch length away. For the second method, stab your needle down a stitch length away from where you came up. Then you're going to come back up where the previous stitch ended, and that's what makes it a backstitch. Honestly, explaining how all these stitches work sounds kind of weird, and I don't know if it's very helpful. So it's probably just better to learn by watching. It's all done. I was planning to do little French knots in white all over the cactus to represent the prickly spines, sort of like on the front of my t-shirt, but I'd done such a good job of covering up the holes that I'd completely forgotten that they were there. So my thread just went straight through them. Instead, I decided to sketch out a flower on the top just to give the succulent a little bit of character. Then I got this pretty dusty pink colored thread, and I used a lazy daisy stitch to form the petals. To do this, I just had to bring my needle up from behind, pass the needle back down very close to where I came up, but instead of pulling the thread all the way through, I will leave a little loop and hold it in place with my finger. Then at the point where I want the tip of the petal to be, I'm going to bring my needle back up and then down almost immediately in the same spot, making sure to snatch that loop of thread that we kept from earlier in between these 2 points. And there you have it. Let me just show you that again. Just like that, it's all done. So let me go ahead and remove the hoop and we can jump right into the final look. I really like how my shirt turned out, and I'll definitely be wearing it for a couple more years now that the hole's been fixed. I hope you guys liked the tutorial. If you guys try any of the techniques that I showed in this video, do please tag me on Instagram at Totostry because I really want to see your creations. Alright, that's it. Until next time, keep it jazzy.